Weak-kneed rhinos, there are plenty of them in the Republican Party, folding on the president's national emergency declaration. Mitch McConnell whining, saying this, quote, "There's a lot of discomfort with the law, not that the president doesn't have the authority to do what he's doing." Now, what in the world does that mean? And today, Senator Mike Lee becomes the fifth Republican to announce in the Senate that he will vote against the president, likely forcing a veto. Joining me now, RNC Chair Ronna McDaniel, who is, I think, the best head of the RNC in decades. Good to see you.
Thank you. It's always good to be here.
Explain to me, in your party, these rhinos, and I say that with as much disgust as I can emanate, they are just ridiculous in their thinking, their performance, and their failure to support a president who, in most cases, that's the only reason these people have been reelected.
Well, I will tell you, I've been traveling the country. I'm in touch with the grassroots. I'm also in touch with the donors. And they're saying to me, you know, Democrats do one thing. They're in lockstep with each other all the time.
Absolutely.
And why can't we do that as a party? And obviously there's room for discussion and these things, but we all ran on border security. We all recognized that we had an immigration issue. All of these senators recognize that. We know the president's doing the right thing to keep our country safe. He needs to be supported. Yeah.
I will tell you straight up, I think every senator who votes against this should absolutely be removed from office. I mean, I think the RNC should work to get rid of them because they're standing in the way of a president who is the most successful in the first 2 years of his presidency since FDR. And it's that straightforward.
Well, I will say I've heard a lot of feedback from our voters, and they are saying, why can't our people support our president? We elected him, and it's going to be an issue for those who are especially up in 2020. Our president deserves support. He ran on this. And by the way, he has congressionally allotted the powers to declare a national emergency. This is something that he's doing well within his capacity as president.
It's a 43-year-old act.
We do, and it's been used 58 times since then. But we also have a serious problem at our border, and that's the real issue.
Emergency. There's no question.
He ran on it. We know it's a problem. What, 268,000 people so far have been apprehended at the border at the beginning of this year. It's up 300%.
Right. We're looking at 1 million that will be apprehended.
Yeah.
We're looking at the ratio of those who are not apprehended to those apprehended. That means there could be as many as 4 million illegal immigrants cross our border this year, and these damn fools are saying there isn't a crisis at our border.
So the president's going to veto this. It's going to go to the House. They won't have enough to override it, so it is going to go forward. But I do think, as I travel, it's the one thing I hear. Why do Democrats always stick together, and why can't Republicans stick with this president?
Well, let's start out with Paul Ryan. Yesterday, talking about he didn't think that the president could win if it was based on the president. I mean, what kind of an ignoramus is he?
Well, he's backtracked that today. He has backtracked that.
It took 24 hours.
Yeah, it took 24 hours, but...
That's actually an accelerated evidence of...
And here's the reality, Lou, is what do we want? Do we want a Kamala
I want people
Harris?
like Ryan the hell out of the party.
Do you want
That's
a Cory
what I
Booker?
want.
I mean, every time we attack our president, we're helping the Democrats. And that's the reality.
Well, Ryan was the Speaker of the House. He did nothing but lie to the president, lie to the American people, and represent the Chamber of Commerce every day in every way. Why is he even considered?
Well, I'm glad he's backtracked. He's done the right thing. And we need to support our president heading into a presidential year, a president who, by the way, has added jobs, grown wages, cut regulation, taken on our national security, made us stronger, taken on ISIS. I mean, this is a president
we've
got a great president, and
absolutely,
he deserves our support, and we want him to win again. Look at where the Democrats are. Every time you attack this president, you're helping the Democrats. That's what I say to our party. So, yeah, I have a disagreement. Pick him up, pick up the phone, call the president. But let's make sure we recognize the end game. We want to reelect Donald Trump. We want to return our majority to the Senate, and we want to win the House back.
All right, let me get your sense of things right now. This president working every day, almost single-handedly, to stave off his attackers in the left-wing national media, the radical Dems, and the rhinos in his own party. What more can the Republican Party do? How can you turn it around, fight for this president, make it clear? I'm talking in the Senate, the House, Republican leaders, governors across the country. Start fighting for this president, because this is ignorance. The witch hunt, the bizarre revelations that continue to this day. The only ones who've been found culpable of anything in all of this collusion bull have been the investigators.
Yeah, well, and Fusion GPS and the Democrat Party who paid them and Hillary Clinton. I mean, this is just ridiculous.
So why can't the Republicans turn the table?
The 168 RNC members recently put a unanimous resolution forward supporting this president. The RNC is in lockstep supporting this president. I work with him every day. I work with the campaign. And you know what? It's not, it's because of the great things he has done to save our country. He has taken on every single obstacle. He has so many headwinds coming against him. And we do need to rally around this president because he is making our country great again.
He has single-handedly gutted the very premise of the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
He has raised employment for minorities, for African Americans, for Hispanics, Asians, women. He has this economy growing at 3%. He's unwound all of the regulation that was put in place.
And let's not forget the judges.
But most of it put in place by Obama.
Just from the Republican standpoint, look at what he has done to the bench with Gorsuch, with Kavanaugh, the circuit court judges. That will transform our nation. We need to support this president. And I hear it all the time from grassroots. They want to see our candidates. And all these senators, we have 22 up. 22 are up in 2020. They've got to support this president.
So do you call a Chuck Grassley who's lost his mind, a Mike Lee who's lost his, Ted Cruz? I mean, who?
I'm not going to share my conversations, but I relay the data to them. No, I mean, I'm not going to share on TV. Listen, I have to make it clear. Here's some of the conversations I'm hearing. Here's what I'm hearing in the grassroots. Here's what I'm hearing from our donors. They're very upset. And they say time and time again, why do Democrats always stand in line together, and why can't we do that for this president?
And this from one of the president's greatest defenders and advocates, not just a defender, an advocate and an important one. Thanks so much for all your.
Thanks for having me.
Ronna McDaniel leading the party, and I hope the damn fools follow.
I hope so, too.
Well, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Good to see you. Ronna McDaniel.